Welcome to Outside Views. Today we're looking at a critical topic that has emerged in UK-EU relations: security cooperation and the persistent issue of fishing rights. With the geopolitical landscape shifting and the UK seeking a reset with the European Union, the question of how both sides handle negotiations has become a key concern. And one of the most pressing debates is whether fishing rights, one of the most contentious issues of Brexit, could derail a much-needed security pact between the UK and the EU. The latest report suggests that while some EU member states have pushed to link fishing quotas with broader negotiations, the European Council's President Antonio Costa has made it clear that defence and fisheries must be treated as separate matters. This is seen as a significant boost for Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who is seeking a security agreement with the EU, but has faced frustration over the bloc's insistence on tying such discussions to other unresolved post-Brexit matters, particularly fishing access. Since the UK's departure from the European Union, fishing rights have remained an emotional and politically sensitive issue. The original Brexit negotiations saw the UK demanding control over its waters, while the EU pushed to maintain access for its fishing fleets. The compromise reached was a transition arrangement under the Brexit trade deal, allowing EU vessels continued access to British waters for a set period, with adjustments to quota shares. However, that agreement expires in June 2026, and both sides will have to return to the negotiating table to decide on new arrangements. Many EU member states, particularly France and Spain, have made it clear that they want to retain as much access as possible. The UK fishing industry, however, is demanding more control over British waters and a greater share of quotas. The dispute has led to concerns that the issue could spill over into other areas of UK-EU cooperation, including security agreements. Costa's recent statements, however, suggest that this will not happen. He has emphasized that European defence and fisheries cannot be put on the same level. This pragmatic approach is significant because it recognizes that security cooperation between the UK and the EU is too important to be held hostage by economic disputes. It also reflects a growing understanding among European leaders that the UK, despite Brexit, remains an essential security partner. Since Brexit, Britain has maintained strong ties with Europe on defence, particularly through NATO and intelligence sharing agreements. With security threats growing across the globe, whether from Russia's aggression, cyber warfare, or instability in other regions, the need for Europe and the UK to work closely on defence and intelligence matters is more pressing than ever. Starmer's proposal for a new security pact is an attempt to formalise that cooperation, and Costa's comments suggest that the EU is open to the idea without preconditions related to fishing and other economic issues. This does not mean, however, that negotiations will be easy. The EU is still considering what it wants from a renewed relationship with the UK, and different member states have different priorities. Diplomatic sources indicate that a package approach is being discussed where fishing rights, security, and even a potential youth mobility deal could be considered together in a broader negotiation. For the UK, this poses both opportunities and risks. On the one hand, linking multiple issues could allow Starmer's government to secure a balanced agreement where both sides feel they are getting something in return. On the other hand, it risks bogging down talks in endless debates, particularly on contentious subjects like fisheries. The reality is that the EU is divided on how to approach the UK reset. Some countries, especially those with major fishing industries, are more inclined to push for maintaining the status quo. Others, particularly those more focused on security concerns, want to keep the negotiations separate. The UK government will need to navigate these complexities carefully. A major test of this diplomatic effort will come on May 19th, when Costa and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen travel to the UK for an EU-UK summit. And this meeting is expected to formally open discussions on a range of issues, and security will be high on the agenda. A key question will be whether the UK and the EU can reach an agreement to start formal negotiations on a security pact without being derailed by economic disputes. While Costa's comments are reassuring, they do not guarantee that other EU leaders will not push for a broader package deal. And this is where Starmer's approach will be crucial. The Prime Minister has taken a pragmatic stance on Brexit, trying to rebuild trust with European allies while maintaining the UK's independence. His efforts to strengthen UK-EU ties through informal diplomacy, including his participation in the recent European Council meeting, have been well received in Brussels. If he can demonstrate that the security pact benefits both sides and should not be held up by fisheries, he may be able to secure a breakthrough. Beyond the immediate negotiations, there are bigger strategic questions about the future of UK-EU relations. The EU needs to find €500 billion for additional defence investments over the next decade. And this funding is a critical issue for Europe, particularly in the wake of the heightened security threats from Russia and other global challenges. Some European leaders have suggested using common debt to fund these projects, a topic that has sparked intense debate within the EU. At the same time, the UK is looking for ways to strengthen its global position post-Brexit, and closer security cooperation with Europe is an obvious area where alignment makes sense. While some in the UK may see any form of alignment with the EU as a political compromise, the reality is that security concerns often transcend political divisions. Even Brexiteers who were skeptical of economic ties with the EU have generally supported continued defence cooperation. A well-structured security pact could provide a foundation for future collaboration in other areas as well, including trade, research, and regulatory alignment. So in conclusion, the issue of fishing rights remains a sensitive topic in UK-EU relations, but it appears unlikely to derail security talks. And Costa's statement that defence and fisheries should not be equated is kinda an encouraging sign for Starmer's government. However, negotiations will still be complex, and the UK will need to carefully balance its interests. If both sides can agree to separate security from economic disputes, a deal could be reached that benefits both the UK and the EU in addressing shared security threats. And the upcoming summit will be a crucial moment in determining whether a new chapter in UK-EU cooperation can begin. For now, the UK has a window of opportunity to reset relations with Europe in a way that prioritizes security without getting lost in old Brexit disputes. So thank you for watching Outside Views, and if you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more in-depth discussions on Brexit and UK politics. And let me know in the comments what you think. Should the UK and the EU keep security and fisheries separate, or should everything be negotiated as part of a broader package? I'll see you next time, and the next video is already right here in the end screen.